From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
The investigation continues. What we are learning this morning after a deadly crash on the rims claims the lives of 2 teenagers and injures 2 others.
These last couple of weeks have been a great learning opportunity for our students.
A hands-on papal experience, how Billings students connected with cardinals in the Vatican City as day 2 of the conclave begins. Plus,
I'm just extremely excited to be a part of the project that's going to provide a state-of-the-art facility that is going to serve the Billings community for 50+ years to come.
Ground broken. What's next for Billings' newest ice arena and what it could bring to the city? Those stories and much more coming up in the next hour. Good morning and welcome back to Montana This Morning on this Thursday, May 8th. I'm Hailey Monaco here with Ed McIntosh. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning. We got a beautiful sunrise working. It's when you step out the door, it's noticeably milder than it was yesterday when we started off at 35, ended up at 73 by the time we were later into the afternoon. It was a pretty nice day all the way around. We did have just a little bit of a breeze, but the winds will kick up around a few stray thunderstorms for today. We're starting off with these are yesterday's highs, so they were mainly in the 70s to low 80s regionally, and we'll make it up to around that as we get later in the afternoon. Certainly looking at a lot of 40s, 50s across our immediate area right now in the short term, but as we make it through the afternoon, expect those temperatures to warm up from those 50s that we're seeing right now up into perhaps the 70s to 80s. But notice that little wave moving in. That brings the chance of a shower or thunderstorm later in the day. We'll tell you how that's going to affect your afternoon and evening weather in a few minutes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ed. New on Montana This Morning, a former Montana women's prison guard is accused of 2 counts of raping an inmate and 1 count of official misconduct. Andre Hunter pleaded not guilty to all the charges. The charges come following a February interview by a Montana Department of Corrections investigator with the alleged victim. The woman told the investigator that she began a romantic relationship with Hunter in late January when the two began communicating verbally and through notes. She says she had 2 sexual encounters with Hunter, one in February 11th and the second one a week later when he asked her to come to the control hub. Now that area is off limits to inmates. On the second occasion, the woman says Hunter asked her for sex, and when she refused, he threatened to discipline her for breaking prison rules. She then agreed to his request. Hunter has denied performing any sex acts with the inmate or even communicating with her through notes. He has been released. 2 teenagers are dead and 2 others are injured after a single vehicle crash early Wednesday morning on the rims. It's a situation we broke right here on Montana This Morning yesterday. That crash happened around 2:30 a.m. east of the 27th Street roundabout on Airport Road. According to Billings Police, the vehicle was heading eastbound when the driver lost control and left the roadway, causing it to roll. 3 of the occupants were ejected, with a 16-year-old girl and 18-year-old girl both dying on scene. The other 2 in the car were transported to a local hospital, but the severity of their injuries is not yet known. Police say the initial investigation indicates that speed is a contributing factor to the crash. As of now, no charges have been filed. Airport Road was closed for around 10 hours after the accident, but has since reopened. For the first time in 2025, a person has been injured by a bison inside Yellowstone National Park. According to park officials, that incident happened on Sunday around 3:15 in the Lake Village area of the park. In the encounter, a 47-year-old Florida man was gored by a bison after he approached it too closely. The park says he sustained minor injuries and was treated by medical personnel. These attacks are not exactly rare in the park, with bison injuring more people in Yellowstone than any other animal. There were 2 reported bison incidents in 2024 and 1 in 2023. This morning, the conclave is entering day 2 as cardinals continue to choose the next pope that will lead the world's 1.4 billion Catholics. It comes less than 3 weeks after the death of Pope Francis. This morning, just before 4 a.m., a second plume of black smoke emerged, marking the second time that cardinals did not reach a decision. Black smoke appeared around 3 hours into the first round of voting yesterday. Both signaled to the cardinals failed to reach the 2/3 majority to elect the 267th pontiff for the Catholic Church. The 133 cardinals will have one more round of voting today and two more potentially in the afternoon in hopes of reaching a decision. A new CBS News poll shows more than a third of U.S. Catholics hope the next pontiff will be more conservative than Pope Francis, while 21% want someone more progressive. Now, it's a selection process that is filled with suspense as the rituals go back centuries. Now, that same suspense did not fill a classroom at Billings Central yesterday, but it doesn't mean there was not intrigue. Our Matt Carmack was hands-on as students took part in their own mock conclave.
According to the U.S. Census, about 10% of Montanans identify as Catholic, being the most common denomination here in the state. And students at Central Catholic High School, a part of that 10%, are learning about this historic event all the way across the globe. Wednesday marked an exciting and historical day for Catholic followers across the world.
It's an interesting process for sure.
You know, just kind of having that knowledge as a priest in this whole process has just been kind of fun for me.
As 133 cardinals decide who will be Pope Francis's successor.
I would say you would need someone that is conservative and then also outgoing.
I think the first priority for any conclave is to pick someone who is a true man of God.
And for these students at Billings Central Catholic High School, it's even more exciting as it's one of their first conclaves.
Very solemn, very wholesome as well, but it's good to pay attention to who we vote for and how we vote because they will be representing us all as Catholics.
On Wednesday, these students learned firsthand how a conclave works as they toil tirelessly to choose a leader in prayer.
We had someone refuse, which they had the right to refuse. You know, and that's something that could happen in the real conclave. We would never know that.
All the other people in here were very upset when I said no.
While still having fun in the classroom.
It's worth seeing somebody be elected because it shows we chose someone who's worth leading us and praying for us and the future Pope to be selected.
It's really important, I think, for any teacher to try to take advantage of that when it's in your subject field. And so these last couple of weeks have been a great learning opportunity for our students.
In Billings, Matt Carmack, MTN News.
Mac, thank you. Airports across the country are already seeing real changes at security checkpoints starting yesterday. After repeated delays, Americans traveling within the U.S. now must show a real ID to board a plane or be prepared to face extra screenings. That includes in Billings, where officials are suggesting getting compliant to avoid those travel headaches. For now, you can still fly without a real ID, but you may be diverted to a different line or have more steps to go through TSA. The good news is there is still time to switch over. As of right now, appointments at the Driver Service Bureau are not available until mid-June. Lawrence Elijah says he is one of those making the last-minute change.
For years, they've said it for years. I knew that I needed to eventually get it.
The Real ID will have a gold or black star in the corner. This requirement takes effect 20 years after Congress passed the Real ID Act to prevent fraud in the wake of the 9/11 attacks. Montana Governor Greg Gianforte made a stop into Billings for the groundbreaking of Billings' new ice arena. The governor was joined by Billings Mayor Bill Cole and a number of business and community leaders for the ceremony. The $16.5 million Signal Peak Ice Arena will be a state-of-the-art ice arena used for hockey and other sports and is expected to bring economic growth to the area around Amend Park.
We're split in both Musselshell County and Yellowstone County. I think a lot of people just assume that we're only out in Musselshell County, and we want to show that we also, most of our employees live in Yellowstone County, and we want to show that we support the county that our workers reside in. And so this is just a way for us to give back to Yellowstone County and to Billings.
Coming up in the next half hour, our David J. will have more on the arena's progress as well as other improvements to the Amend Recreation Campus. Many families in the world of agriculture have the dream of passing their farms and ranches on to the next generation. But without talking about how that will look, that legacy might not continue. In this morning's Montana Ag Report, MTN's Allie Kaiser dives into how best to tackle those difficult discussions.
It is something many of us do not want to think about. A family member passing away without leaving a will behind and not knowing what to do with what is left. In order to ease some of the fighting, some Montana ranchers are getting together to have these conversations ahead of time before they're left with questions.
He just says, I want the milk, I want the good stuff.
The Carey family are sixth-generation Montana ranchers in the Boulder Valley.
I don't think really, even when I graduated from high school, I never really thought twice about doing something else.
Husband and wife Kelly and Bo Carey work with Bo's family on the Devil's Fence Ranch and Dunn Canyon Cattle Company. Two of Bo's siblings moved, so the team consists of his younger brother, his wife, and his parents.
I don't know that ranchers retire. I think they just step back when they're not able to do all the things, but they never fully retire.
For many generational ranches and farms, the next steps can be a question mark. This is why family planning and succession is an annual topic of conversation at the Young Ag Couples Conference, which Kelly and Bo attended a couple years back.
The next generation is how we keep agriculture land and agriculture in production, and we're not farming houses, we're actually farming the land, so that's a big deal.
Attendees of the conference learned that communication is essential for successful succession. One speaker at the conference,
plans are so darn important. What if happens?
Professor Ron Hansen from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln says families should map out a plan with the following guidelines. Identify and adopt a legacy vision for the future. Draft ideas into a plan. Organize planning resources like an accountant, attorney, or estate planning and wealth management specialist. Clarify family member assumptions and expectations, and take action and set deadlines.
That's something that I've taken home with me as far as having that conversation with my dad and my aunt and saying, you know, you guys just kind of got control over this when Grandpa passed away, and I think that there's a better way to handle it instead of just waiting until you can't have that conversation.
Being able to look up to the previous generation, but also planning for the next generation, and like what legacy are we leaving, what does that look like, and really what are we looking to build.
Professor Hansen says the solution is for family members to start their planning process now and never later. In the Boulder Valley, I'm Allie Kaiser, MTN News.